This presentation examines whether illegal immigration represents a major challenge for Canada. Public debate has intensified, often influenced by rhetoric borrowed from U.S. political discourse. However, the factual evidence paints a much clearer and more measured picture. Canada's geography, border systems, biometric controls, and enforcement mechanisms all work together to maintain low levels of unauthorized presence. To determine the truth, we examine data from IRCC, CBSA, the Immigration and Refugee Board, the Parliamentary Budget Officer, and Statistics Canada. Across all authoritative sources, a consistent conclusion emerges: Canada does not face significant illegal immigration pressures. Instead, most concerns relate to temporary resident program management and processing capacity, not unlawful entry or large numbers of undocumented migrants. It is not true that illegal immigration is a significant issue in Canada. The best available evidence supports an undocumented population of approximately 100,000 to 200,000 people, almost all of whom entered legally and later overstayed rather than crossing irregularly. This represents well under 1% of Canada's population. Irregular border crossings have sharply declined since the 2023 expansion of the Safe Third Country Agreement, falling by more than 70% and remaining at historically low levels. Canada's real challenges lie in administrative capacity, processing times, temporary resident volumes, and program governance, not illegal entry. Moreover, Canada maintains a robust system of status verification, compliance checks, and targeted removals that prevents the growth of a large unauthorized population. The narrative of a crisis-level illegal immigration problem does not align with verifiable data. Canada's security architecture, including biometric screening, entry-exit tracking, and digital visa monitoring, significantly limits the likelihood of a large undocumented population. Modeling by academics, demographic trend analysis, and overstayer behavior research consistently point to a range of 100,000 to 200,000 individuals without status. This estimate is small in both absolute and relative terms, amounting to less than 1% of Canada's population. Unlike countries with vast land borders and high irregular traffic, Canada's geography naturally restricts unauthorized entry. The evidence shows a controlled and stable environment, not rising levels of illegal migration. Irregular border crossings, once concentrated at Roxham Road, have plummeted since the expansion of the Safe Third Country Agreement in 2023. The change closed the loophole that had previously allowed claimants to present themselves between official ports of entry. As a result, irregular crossings dropped by more than 70% and have stabilized at low, manageable levels. The data confirms that irregular entry is not increasing and does not pose growing pressure on Canada's immigration or refugee systems. The Roxham Road era was an anomaly tied to a specific policy gap, one that has now been resolved. Canada's immigration pressures arise from high, but fully legal, temporary resident volumes, including international students, temporary workers, and visa-exempt visitors. These pressures manifest in processing delays, administrative burdens, and the need for better program oversight. None of these challenges reflect an increase in illegal immigration. Even as temporary resident numbers rise, Canada's systems for tracking legal entry, visa expiry, and status changes remain thorough. The issue is administrative modernization, not unauthorized entry or large-scale unlawful presence. Canada relies on several integrated systems to detect, monitor, and remove individuals without status. Entry/exit tracking logs every arrival and departure, flagging anyone who remains after their visa expires. Employer compliance audits and social insurance number checks identify unauthorized employment. CBSA inland enforcement investigates overstays, monitors failed asylum claimants, and issues removal orders following due process. Once legal avenues are exhausted, removals proceed voluntarily or through CBSA-supervised departure, often with re-entry bans lasting from 1 year to permanently. These mechanisms ensure that Canada enforces immigration law consistently and prevents the formation of a large shadow population. Public perception has increasingly been influenced by US-style language describing a crisis of illegal immigration. This framing is not supported by Canadian data. Canada's land geography limits unauthorized entry, irregular crossings have plummeted, and the undocumented population remains modest and stable. Yet political messaging has intensified even as irregular flows decline. The distance between rhetoric and reality has widened, creating misconceptions that shape public opinion despite clear evidence to the contrary. Canada does not have a significant illegal immigration problem. Credible data shows a modest undocumented population of 100,000 to 200,000 people, a dramatic reduction in irregular border crossings, and a consistent enforcement system that prevents the growth of unauthorized presence. Canada's primary pressures involve the governance of legal temporary resident programs, not crisis-level illegal immigration. Assertions of widespread illegal immigration reflect political narrative rather than measurable fact. This slide presents the full list of authoritative sources used in the analysis. IRCC provides the detailed figures for asylum claims and temporary resident trends. The IRB offers verified statistics on irregular border crossers, particularly following the Safe Third Country Agreement expansion. The Parliamentary Budget Officer's modeling supports the estimate of the undocumented population and clarifies where real administrative pressures lie. Statistics Canada offers demographic context and immigration status data. CBSA provides official removal statistics and describes enforcement mechanisms. Together, these sources form a comprehensive, evidence-based picture of the issue. Viewers can pause here to view the full citations and follow links to the source material. For more fact-based content about Canadian politics, democratic health, economic trends, and rhetorical analysis, the Facts for Canadians platforms offer ongoing resources and educational material. These outlets aim to strengthen public understanding, improve media literacy, and support evidence-based democratic engagement.